Welcome to the third hour of American Agenda. I'm Bob Sellers.
And I'm Heather Childers, and we are now joined by our family of co-hosts, Republican strategist Ash Wright, host of Money Talk with Melanie and Project 21 member Melanie Collette, and Republican strategist and host of the 13-minute news hour, Bobby Eberle. Welcome to everyone.
All right, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis introducing a new bill banning political flags such as Black Lives Matter and other flags of that sort from flying atop United States embassies. The Stars and Stripes Act of 2021 comes as a response to the decision by the State Department. This was kind of hard to believe for me, folks. I don't know about any on our panel, but the department was flying these kinds of flags at their embassies to commemorate 1 year of George Floyd's death. The Congresswoman saying in a statement, "It is inappropriate for President Biden and Secretary Blinken to authorize and encourage the display of inherently political flags that are in no way affiliated with the U.S. government over American embassies overseas." Melanie, do you agree?
I completely agree. Why are we commemorating the year anniversary of George Floyd's death? Why are we putting a Black Lives Matter flag out in front of all of our embassies when that's not representative of the entire United States? Why are we making, I don't understand why we're raising the profile of George Floyd as a person. His death was absolutely tragic, but I don't understand why we are raising him up as a person, as somebody to be looked up to in the same vein as a Martin Luther King.
Yeah, and the other thing that strikes me is we have stood for freedom and opportunity around the world. And what happens, it's kind of like, Heather, you know, in your family, you can say what you want, but don't talk about my family. I'll take care of my family. I almost feel like this is airing some dirty laundry. You know, the politics going on right now, however this goes with BLM, whether they become more prominent or less prominent, do we really need to spread this around the world?
It's interesting that you would take that argument, though, because Secretary Blinken took the opposite of that. And he said, yes, that we do have these types of issues that happen within our family. Therefore, that's all the more reason that we should be flying these types of flags
Absolutely
over our
wrong.
embassies and consulates. So he took the opposite approach.
No
and he
way.
said that by us not doing it, they were trying to hide issues that we have here in our country.
Imagine having that gut feel being so wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that just blows me away. Bobby?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this goes back to Barack Obama, too. He was, man, he was classic when he would do that. He'd go overseas and talk down about America when he's supposed to be representing America.
Right.
I could never stand that. I can't stand this right now because these flags and these movements, they're political movements. And we see the divisiveness on down the line. You know, going through high school, they're allowing people to wave the BLM flag, but not Blue Lives Matter, or sometimes not even the American flag because they say, no, that's controversial. But BLM flags, they can be raised anywhere. And now across in our embassies, there's no way we should do it. It should just be the American flag. Keep the politics out of it. And to your point, Bob, keep the politics local. Keep it at home. We can settle it ourselves.
And this comes on the heels of U.S. embassies being told that they could fly the LGBTQ flag as well. And there was controversy around that when that decision was made. But you make a good point, Bobby, that it does, you know, it comes down to an opinion as to which flags, if it's a matter of politics and political issues, which flags can be flown. Ash, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing that I find most interesting about this is that we have to have a Stars and Stripes bill. I mean, we already have the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act bans any federal employee from politically campaigning on state time, in state property, or using state property and federal buildings for political activity. And the problem with this one is that the BLM is self-defined as a decentralized political and social movement. And so they are, as self-defined, a political movement, and we're allowing federal agencies to use these political flags in order to influence other political decisions made around the world. And I think it's interesting that, BLM, they always kind of want to say, well, look, we're not political when it benefits them, or they want to be political when it does benefit them. But the reality is this isn't what state property is about. These federal governments and these buildings and our embassies around the world should be used to glorify our nation and to tell people all of the great things we're doing. And it's interesting, it's always liberal leaning organizations that get their flags up. And there have been hundreds and hundreds of nonprofits in the last 2 years that have done amazing work for things like COVID-19, feeding, foster children and sick children around the world. We never really truly see them glorified on the side of our buildings. It's always just these left-leaning, ultra-liberal political organizations. And I really just think it's poor and sad. All the credit to Congressman Maliataki for what she's doing, but it's really just sad that we have to go down this road anyways.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it is, Melanie. I feel like, though, that they don't get the message, that they don't understand what that. Go ahead.
They're not getting the message, and they're also not getting the message that it's offensive to those of us who are anti-BLM, if you will. Those of us who think the message of BLM is offensive, which I am one of those people. They are anti-nuclear family, anti-Christian, in my opinion.
And you know what? Here's a question, Melanie. How about BLM? Are they pro the American flag?
I was going to say they were founded on Marxist principles, but yet we're giving them this.
So we're flying people who describe themselves as Marxists. We're flying their flag on American embassies. Have I got that right?
It's a huge contradiction. And it seems like the far left has no problem with doing that. I really don't understand it. And it's a smack in the face to those of us who consider ourselves to be United States citizens, united under the American flag. That's the whole point of those embassies, is to symbolize us as Americans being united under that one flag. And then you go and smack us all in the face and put a BLM flag there. It's offensive.
Yeah, I feel like that. It's like go find a hammer and sickle. Put it next to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bobby?
Yeah, well, a couple of points right there. One of them is that, yes, they aren't getting the message, but we are. We are getting the message. When we see about the military getting critical race theory and all of this stuff, people get disheartened. This is just another example where they say the government seems to be on the side of the left. They don't care about promoting anything on the right. In fact, we're going to put up this BLM flag. They are Marxists. By definition, they are anti-American. And we are flying this flag at our embassies. It sends a message to the world, but it sends a message back home, too, that the government is not on our side, the side of conservatives, or just people that want to go about their daily lives without having BLM or these other left-wing ideologies or philosophies or flags thrown in our face. And it just happens time and time again. We end up on the losing end.
Ash, they have no business being on top of our embassies, those flags.
None at all. None at all. And look, Joe Biden promised us he was going to be the president to unify our country when he came in. And now not only is he destroying any sort of unification that we might have had coming in, he's also doing it around the world and dividing our country and the whole world all in one full swoop by putting these flags up. And it's frankly really disappointing.
Yeah, Bob, I was going to say, you know, we had discussed earlier that it's just another example of virtue signaling and concentrating on things that symbolize issues, but really in the long run don't make a difference. And it's really putting the party that's in power over the majority of the people.
That American flag stands for so much. Freedom, democracy.
All people.
All
Americans.
And imperfect union. But you tell me where there's a perfect one in this world. And so to put that kind of thing, again, leave that in the country. If you want to have these arguments, fine. Doesn't belong over our embassies around the world where we're trying to project how we are a strong, united country. And when it comes to certain values, we are. Yeah. So let's hope it stays that way, right? I guess that's what we're talking about. Thank you, panel.